I think one of the hardest parts about hating your job is when you realize you've mentally checked out, but you still need the paycheck. Because then every interaction starts feeling heavier than it should. A rude customer, a passive aggressive email, a coworker's tone. And after a while, it stops feeling like that annoyed me and starts feeling like I genuinely don't know how much more of this I can take. Welcome back to It's Just Monday, a place for people stuck in jobs they hate who are trying to build a way out. I've been thinking a lot lately about what happens when you mentally check out of a job, but you still need to keep showing up every day anyway. Because I don't think enough people talk about this part. The emotional exhaustion, the irritability, the feeling of trying so hard not to react to things that wouldn't have affected you this much years ago. Sometimes I'll catch myself getting upset over something small a customer says, or the tone of an email. And I know part of why it affects me so much is because I'm tired. Not just physically tired, emotionally tired. Tired of always taking it. I think that's what starts happening in these kinds of jobs after a long time. You spend years swallowing frustration, being polite when people are rude, staying professional when someone talks to you in a way you would never talk to them. And eventually, your emotional tolerance gets lower and lower. So things that maybe wouldn't have bothered you years ago suddenly do. And sometimes what scares me isn't even the job itself. It's the fear that one day I'll react emotionally in a moment where I stop thinking about the long-term consequences. Because even though I'm mentally exhausted, I still need the income. I still need the job. One thing I've been trying to do is become less emotionally reactive. Not because I suddenly love the job, but because I don't want other people's behavior controlling my emotional state anymore. I want to get to a point where I can think, that person has an attitude, but that's their issue, and then keep moving. Not carry it around emotionally for the next several hours or into the next day. Not let it ruin my entire mood. And I've tried different things to help me cope, like gratitude, reminding myself there's another paycheck coming, pretending I'm playing a role at work instead of taking everything personally. Sometimes it helps, and sometimes it doesn't. And I honestly still don't know if becoming completely emotionally detached is realistic. But I do know constantly carrying the emotional weight of other people all day is exhausting. One thing that's really hard to admit is I think this kind of exhaustion changes you over time. I think back to when I was younger, and even though I still didn't love my jobs back then, there was more energy in me, more patience, more hope, more try. Now sometimes I notice how little I care about things I know I'm supposed to care about. Team activities, office games, company events, emails I should probably feel more invested in. And I don't even think it's because I'm lazy. I think part of me is just emotionally over it. And I know there are people who genuinely do well in these environments. People who don't internalize every interaction. People who can leave work at work emotionally. People who aren't deeply affected by a customer's tone or attitude. And honestly, I think some people are just built better for these kinds of roles than others. I don't think that makes anyone weak. I just think different environments affect different people differently. I definitely don't have this figured out yet, but there are a few things I've been trying lately that do seem to help a little. One thing I've realized is that I can't keep emotionally carrying every interaction home with me. Not in a careless way, just reminding myself this interaction is temporary. This person doesn't actually know me. Their frustration isn't my identity. Another thing I've been trying to do is stop carrying work mentally after I log off, because I realized even when I wasn't working, emotionally, I still was. Replaying conversations, thinking about emails, staying irritated long after the day ended. I've also been trying to focus less on loving the job and more on protecting my ability to survive it while I figure out my next move. Because right now for me, the goal isn't how do I become passionate about this? It's how do I stop this from emotionally destroying me while I build something else? And honestly, some days I do better with that than others. I think the hardest part about mentally checking out is trying not to let it cost you your livelihood. Because when you still need the paycheck, you don't really get the luxury of completely falling apart emotionally. You still have to log in, answer the emails, take the calls, and be professional. Even on days where internally you feel completely disconnected from it all. I don't really have a perfect ending for this video. I'm still figuring this out myself. But I think sometimes the first step is just being honest about where you actually are mentally. And right now, I know I'm trying to find a way forward without letting burnout turn me into someone constantly angry, reactive, or emotionally drained. Maybe some of you understand that feeling too. And if you do, at least know you're not the only one trying to hold it together while quietly building a way out. And remember, on this channel, we're not just surviving Mondays, we're building our way out.